I don't know if this counts as a hot take, but Cold War is a phenomenal game when it comes to zombies, and I want you to hear me out if you already don't agree with me. I have timestamps if you wish to skip ahead to a part that interests you more, as this might potentially be a lengthier video. As always, I hope you enjoy. I consider Cold War to be the last good zombies game, or at least the last zombies game that feels like a zombies game. There are things I appreciate about modern zombies, but I do not think they compare in any way whatsoever to Cold War. There's a clear divide when it comes to modern zombies versus OG zombies, and I myself am not a fan of modern zombies when compared to what we had over a decade ago. That being said, I find Cold War to be a surprisingly entertaining zombies game considering it is part of the modern era of Call of Duty. It was released in 2020 and immediately followed the conclusion of the beloved Ether story that carried on for 10 plus years. Because of this, it received heavy backlash. I remember the end of the Ether story, and I also remember being outraged when they announced the start of a new story, that being the Dark Ether. I was not interested at all, but I still gave it a chance, and I think that's what really mattered. I instantly fell in love with the trailers and gameplay, and I wanted it for myself. However, I didn't end up buying the game until 2022 when I got my first job, and by then it had run its course, and what fans it did have seemed to have lost interest by this point. Despite this, I still played it. I mean, I bought the game. I'm not going to let it go to waste. The first thing I noticed upon entering the game was the overly complex looking main menu screen. I mean, what are even half of these options? Endless or 20 rounds? Outbreak? Onslaught? Cranked? I want zombies! I could honestly talk about the other game modes as well, but this video is strictly round-based zombies that we all know and love. Alright, let's check out Maschine since it's the first map, so instantly that's what new players are going to be drawn to. Or maybe not, I don't know. I played the maps in order, I don't know about the rest of you. New players are most likely going to be drawn to Maschine first since it's the first map, blah blah blah, but something I love about this is that it's familiar. You know, Nocturne Toten is in the map. You can literally run through the entire building, including places that were initially closed off in the original. Now, I know, seeing Nocturne Toten however many times we've seen it in the game is very repetitive. But the formula for zombies is literally repetition. Just think about it, though. The first map you play is the literal first map in zombies. I thought that was clever, and it really helped seeing something so familiar in a game that plays so differently. And for new players who have never played zombies before, they're also being introduced to the first ever zombies map. Though I suppose this could be a very difficult game to learn if this is your first ever zombies game, considering the multitude of new mechanics added. Even I, someone who has been playing the game since 2011, found it a little challenging to learn everything at first. What the hell are skills, and why are there so many? How do I upgrade them? Crystals? How do I attain these? This is a good place to start. All of these new mechanics are very much in favor of the player, so rather than feeling overwhelmed by all of these additions to the game, you should learn how to use them to your advantage, because you'll be grateful for them in the long run. Salvage, for example, is just another currency in the game. As someone who prefers point-based, I actually don't mind kill-based in this game since the currency is split. If I had to do everything with my essence, I'd feel exhausted. Not to mention there are 3 tiers to Pack-a-Punch, which are quite pricey. We have the initial pack, which is of course 5,000, then we have the second one, which is 15,000, and the third one is 30,000. So in total, if you want to fully pack your weapon, you will need 50,000 points. So start prioritizing critical kills immediately. Oh, there's also another section for alternate ammo types. Each cost 2,000. Look at it this way, you can pack your weapon 3 times and get an AAT for it. I know, Black Ops 4 did this for way less points, but at least in this game my weapon actually feels like it does more. No hate to Black Ops 4. And yes, we have had double packing before, but never like this. Something I can appreciate is the fact you don't have to wait to pack either. In the old games, you had to sit there and wait for it to come back out of the machine, but in this game, it's instant. You don't even throw that shit in the PAP machine anymore, it just appears in your hands. Technology is crazy, what the hell? Okay, so the new mechanics for points and pack are pretty helpful, but what is this now? Arsenal? Weapon rarity? What am I looking at? Before you click off, if you haven't already, I'm going to hold your hand while I say this is your saving grace. And the great thing about it doesn't cost essence at all. The arsenal only uses salvage. Another great thing about this is the fact every weapon has the potential to be good. So if you're anything like how I was, you're probably wondering what weapons are decent in this game. And the answer is all of them. Never in a million years would I expect to say I love the ballistic knives. The weapon rarity system helps to keep your weapon's damage from falling off. If you do not keep up with this, you may find yourself wondering why your weapon sucks despite packing it. Now, armor you can also pick up from zombies since they will occasionally drop it along with armor plates, or you can just buy it and upgrade it at the arsenal. The good thing about it is you can repair it fully for 250 salvage, which is insane to think about later on because of how much salvage you will be getting. It's basically free. Consider upgrading to Tier 3 Death Perception for 20% more looted salvage. Now, if you're new to the game, you're probably wondering how you even upgrade these skills to begin with. You're going to need Aetherium Crystals, which you can obtain from round milestones and successful exfils. Starting at round 11, you have the option to exfil so that you can end the game off with better loot than just quitting or dying. And every 5 rounds, there will be an announcement telling you that you can exfil again. So just keep in mind that exfils come around every 5 rounds. This, along with reaching round milestones, is how you obtain Aetherium Crystals, in round-based anyway. Raw Aetherium Crystals are the easiest to get, and these are used for the first 3 upgrades in your skills. Refined are used for the 4th, and Flawless are used for the 5th. I'm not going to go through every single tier and what they do, but I have some recommendations for ones you should obtain first if you are new. Perk tiers I recommend are Tier 3 Death Perception, which I already explained increases your chance for more looted salvage, and Tier 2 Mule Kick, which gives all enemies a small chance of dropping ammo. With this, you literally never need a max ammo. I'm being dead serious. Next, I have some perk tiers that are nice to have, but not necessary. Tier 4 Quick Revive is more for you if you're playing with friends. When reviving an ally, it will increase both players' movement speed for a limited time. Tier 5 Quick Revive. Killing an enemy while down will revive you. Tier 2 Stamina. Immunity to fall damage, and yes, there is PhD Slider in the game. Tier 5 Mule Kick. Third primary weapon is recovered when purchasing Mule Kick. These are some field upgrade tiers I recommend, but they're all Aether Shroud and Ring of Fire, because I don't use any of the others. Tier 2 Aether Shroud. Increase shroud duration to 8 seconds. Tier 3 Aether Shroud. Activation instantly warps you forwards a small distance. This could be helpful if you're surrounded or stuck in a corridor somewhere. Tier 5 Aether Shroud. Increase maximum charges to 2. This will give you 2 instead of 1 use of them. Tier 4 Ring of Fire. Burning effect has a small chance to insta-kill, and Tier 5 Ring of Fire, ring duration, burn effect, and insta-kill chance all increase the longer the player is inside. And lastly, a weapon upgrade I recommend is Tier 5 Melee. Melee damage will heal you a small amount. The nice thing about Cold War is the fact you can choose which weapon you want to spawn in with. Black Ops 4 did this, but only with secondary weapons. Along with choosing which weapon you want to spawn in with, you can also choose which field upgrade you want. In my opinion, Ring of Fire and Aether Shroud are the best, especially if you're new. I honestly don't know the last time I used any of the others. I personally love to start off with the Gallo or Hauer, but like I said, every weapon has the potential to be good in this game. If knives aren't good enough for you, you can also punch zombies with your bare fists. Weapon customization, though quite annoying, is very helpful. You have seen this feature in past zombie games such as Black Ops 3 and 4, so you should be pretty used to it by now unless you are new to the game. Oh, here's a fun fact. You can shoot while drinking a perk. Yes, you can do this in Black Ops 4. I don't care. This isn't about Black Ops 4. This is about Cold War. Now, you might be wondering why I have an entire section dedicated to barriers, so let's answer that question for you. Something that never sat right with me was the absence of barriers in modern zombies. Now, listen, I know barriers are completely useless in the newer games, and especially on a behemoth of a map such as Transit, where they were really only there because they were a staple of the game. That's exactly why I'm opposed to the deletion of them. Like, if you're ever feeling down about yourself, just remember there's a barrier on the church in Transit. Back in 2007, there was a flash game called The Last Stand. Your goal was simple: survive hordes of zombies and keep yourself barricaded to avoid letting the zombies in. Well, what if I told you this is the game that inspired Call of Duty Zombies? You probably already know this as there are tons of videos on it, but back in 2008, barriers were essential in Nocturne Toten. I remember playing it as a kid and always freaking out whenever one entered the building, and I would immediately board it back up because it helped me to feel a sense of comfort when playing. As time went on and the maps grew larger, barriers weren't a necessity anymore. In some maps like Shadows of Evil, there are windows zombies can climb through that don't even have rebuildable barriers. It just feels strange to me that something that was quite literally the foundation for the game can just be erased and forgotten about. That's really when I stopped playing zombies. And no, I didn't stop playing because barriers weren't in the game anymore. I stopped playing because the game lost its spark. Barriers in The Last Stand were crucial, and if that game inspired the entire franchise of Call of Duty Zombies, then the least the developers can do is keep them in the game. They are the keystone of the game, game, and removing them also removes the entire identity of zombies, why the game grew so popular to begin with. It was a survival game. Well, I'm here to tell you that barriers are in Cold War, and this was the last time you ever saw them in a Treyarch Zombies game. Along with that, this is the last time you ever see the Carpenter drop. In Black Ops 4 and Cold War, Carpenter was given an extra ability alongside rebuilding every barrier in the map. It repairs your shield or armor. In Black Ops 6, they removed Carpenter and barriers entirely and replaced Carpenter with full armor. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but doesn't the game look and feel so different? It's not even scary anymore. Man, just give me my barriers back. I really don't have much to say about this other than I am very appreciative for the fact you do not lose everything upon prestiging. Normally when you prestige, all your weapons are locked and you will have to unlock them by leveling up again. Now, I understand some people like this way of prestiging as it feels more rewarding, but I find it annoying. As someone who has master prestige in Black Ops 3, there is nothing more that I hate than prestiging. Well, in Cold War, you don't have to worry about that. Once you unlock something, you have it forever. This is extremely helpful considering self-revives are only available to craft once you reach level 53. I mean, imagine having to level up to 53 every single time just so you can use a self-revive. Also, if you're looking to level up yourself or your weapons faster, consider doing the daily challenges for XP tokens. These are genuinely lifesavers. One thing Cold War did right is the fact that every map has a great wonder weapon. When we look back at OG Zombies, we had some pretty amazing and unique wonder weapons such as the Wonderwaff and the Wave Gun, but then there were some rather lackluster ones like the Winter's Howl and Jet Gun. I'm proud to say that Cold War's wonder weapons are all top tier. All of these weapons can be obtained easily and for free, bought from the mystery box, or even given to you from trials. The Shockwave on Maschine comes with 4 variants you can craft: the Electrobolt, Nova 5, Thermophasic, and Cryo Emitter. We have seen wonder weapons with different variants previously, like the staves and the bows, and I always found these types of wonder weapons to be more intriguing as there are different ones you can obtain and try out. Not to mention if you run out of ammo, you can just swap to another variant if you've crafted it. Another cool thing about the Shockwave is there's actually an ability to suck, which will actually reload your ammo for it. I don't have much to say about the Ray case since I don't play Firebase that much, but all I remember about getting the free one is that the dartboard step sucks. The gun is a lot of fun to use though, and there are 2 different ammo types for it. The Cerberus on Mauer also comes with variants that you can obtain every once in a while when an enemy drops one. It also acts as a max ammo for that variant. I have a difficult time deciding between this and the Crystal Axe as my favorite, but based on my player stats, I'm gonna go ahead and say the Crystal Axe is my favorite. The Crystal Axe on Forsaken is OP and extremely fun to use, especially since you can play mindlessly with it, and especially if you have tier 5 melees. The Crystal Axe itself actually repairs a bit of your armor after every kill, and if you have tier 5 melees, that grants you the ability to gain back a bit of health after every melee kill, practically making you invincible. Not to mention you can also use it as a gun, or you can stick with the melee variant. Okay, we're finally getting to the part where I get to talk about the maps. If you have never played Cold War, the launch map, Maschine, is a great map to start on to get your bearings. It is also familiar considering it has Nocturne and Toten in it. The spawn area is great for training, or you could consider camping up by the Wonder Fizz. Power and Pack-a-Punch are super easy. You just have to run down into the bunker and press a button, run up to this portal where you will be sent to the Dark Aether, find the tunnel marked on your map and use it, grab the Pack-a-Punch part and place it in. I know that probably sounded like a lot, but I find it more interesting than just finding the Pack-a-Punch and being able to use it. Maschine also has max ammo rounds, which is nice. This map also has a pretty easy yet somewhat annoying mini-boss zombie, that being the Megaton. This and the Plague Hounds are the only 2 alternate enemy types you need to worry about, which is why it's good for new players. As a bonus, here's how to get Juggernog for free with some other loot. This is the Coffin Dance Easter egg. All you need to do is have the Pack-a-Punch machine forged, then these 5 blue orbs will appear around the particle accelerator. You just need to shoot them all in no particular order, and you will be blessed with the Coffin Dance and some free rewards after. An orb can be found right outside the room to power, just behind you behind a grate, above the left entrance to the particle accelerator, behind a fence, and behind another barrier underneath the staircase to path. I've literally played Firebase like 4 or 5 times. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to this map, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip to Mauer. Mauer is, in my opinion, the best Cold War map, and here's why. The Wonder Fizz is available starting on round 1, though the only map to not have this feature is Maschine. No teleporters are needed to get anywhere on the map, though there are zip lines and grapples for you to use. It also has max ammo rounds. There is a ton of training space. I recommend buy the trials, and a decent camping spot by the Wonder Fizz. It's a little more challenging, not really, considering the multitude of different enemy types such as the Krasny Soldat, Tormentors, Disciples, and Manglers. The Disco Easter egg deserves its own spot. I mean, come on. If you want to do this for yourself, you just have to find 6 parts of Mr. Peaks, which can be found in Hotel Room 304 on a table next to flowers, next to some tires in the alleyway, next to Jug in a booth, across from the arsenal in the sewers, on a shelf next to Wonder Fizz, and at the back of an aisle in the grocery store. Once inside the disco, you will have to take on waves of enemies including manglers, mimics, and yes, even a megaton. Once you have completed it, you will have the option to pick which door to go through to claim your prize. Forsaken is underappreciated, so let me explain why. There's an arcade that you can actually use. Occasionally, zombies will drop arcade tokens, which you can use on some of the arcade machines. My personal favorite is the Dreisendrach one. Similar to the Coffin Dance, you will be rewarded, only this time your rewards will be based on how many zombies you kill. If the smiley face is orange, then you have reached the highest reward. The Crystal Axe gets its own spot in this, but I've already talked about it, so I'm not going to explain it again. The spawn room is a lot like Moon's, only you can actually progress in rounds in this one. The map is stunning. I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing. I genuinely love this map. Though the layout can be tedious considering you have to zipline, grapple, or teleport to get to a different part of the map, I suppose it would be faster than having to run all the way there though. And lastly, Pack-a-Punch is a safe zone, similar to Kino, for a limited time though. The Easter eggs aren't tedious and are actually really fun, especially Mauer and Forsaken. Forsaken tends to get a bad rep in the community, though despite this, it is one of my favorite maps. Its Easter egg has a fun boss battle too, so consider looking into it. I've done all of the Easter eggs except for Firebase. It was actually my New Year's resolution to beat it, but you know how New Year's resolutions are. It's July, I don't think I'm getting around to it. However, I hope to do videos on the other Easter eggs, and who knows, maybe I'll actually do Firebases. Lastly, I just have a few fun facts because I love the game so much. Did you know if you have Brain Rot on your weapon, there is a small chance you can Brain Rot a Plague Hound, which gives you the ability to pet it? Zombies will throw their flesh at you on occasion, which I still find hilarious. There's a timer on your drops, which was only ever seen in World of War Nocturne and Toten. And lastly, you can purchase every single perk. There is no limit. This all being said, there are still some things that Cold War lacks, but that's for another time. As someone who has been playing the game for 15 years, I feel that this game is incredibly underappreciated, especially because of its rough launch as it immediately followed the conclusion of the Aether story. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'm pretty knowledgeable on the game and would love for more people to play it or start playing it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Follow me on Twitch and TikTok if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.
Just sitting there staring at me. No, bitch! Yes!
No! What if I just restart the game right now? What if I just restart? Bro, I didn't want to slide. Why Weaver, you fucking piece of shit? He doesn't count as a zombie, so you'll respawn and he'll still be here. Oh my god! Oh my god!